I'm going to give you a tour of my shop 1 year after I set it up. It went from this to this. Let me show you around. When I first moved my tools into my partner's basement, I was living in an apartment and doing leather work on my kitchen table. Most of my other tools were still in my old shop, and when I moved to the apartment, all I brought with me was my leather tools because I could do it on my kitchen table. So that's why when I first moved my tools into Natalie's basement, which is here, I set it up as a leather workshop. You can see that video up in the corner here. Over the last year, I gradually moved my tools from my old shop here as I needed them, until finally, a year later, I moved myself here. Well, not technically here, upstairs. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, Natalie and I shacked up. You don't understand how amazing it is to live in the same place that your shop is in. Actually, a lot of you guys who watch this probably have your shop in your basement or in a room in your house or maybe in your garage. If you don't, and you got a kitchen table that you're working on, that's awesome too. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been organizing and unpacking, making ways of storing tools, putting up shelves, and just getting this space ready to create. So enough talking, let me show you around. So we're gonna start from the extreme left. So we've got my drill press. I use my drill press for everything from leather work, woodwork. It's the only power tool I have in this section of the shop. Most of my stuff is done without power tools. Right above that, I've got my planes, I've got my pistol, got some posters and stuff up on the walls. These shelves, now these shelves are the new addition. Before I had everything on the ground, and having everything on the ground, just sucks. I like having things up high where I can see them. I've got my planes, I've got a couple boxes of things, I've got my carving tools here, my bushcraft stuff, glues, oils, some stamps, some strings. This here, I just did this. This is my chisel holder that I just put together, and I'm really stoked about that. You don't want to leave like a gouge or a chisel on the table. Then I've got my arbor press, which I use for leather work. Here I've got my 2-inch T-auger. That actually belonged to my great-grandpa. That is a really neat piece of equipment. Where else are you gonna find a 2-inch T-auger? Anyway, it was my great-grandfather's, and there's a bunch of other stuff that actually came from my great-grandpa. This is a set of chip carving chisels that my friend Bob gave me before he passed away. An axe I restored, a saw blade I plan to turn into a frame saw. I'm gonna turn that saw blade into a frame saw, so I put it right there where I have to look at it. First time I've ever had a guitar in my shop. You know, I play guitar, I'm a musician, and I just love music, and having my guitar around is really fantastic. Here I've got my sharpening stuff, I've got all my dies on this shelf. This is all like leatherworking liquids, and a blowtorch. You know, why not? And a lamp that my dad made. That was actually on the piano when I was growing up. This is something that I'm really happy with. I took that lamp and my moving desk lamp and this lamp, and I plugged them all into this, wired it up on the wall here, and they all turn on and off at the same time with the push of a button. And I love that. That makes me very happy. You guys have seen my desk space before. Got my slab of granite and my cutting mat, and in the last video you saw me put together this little thing for my end punches. I've just left it the way it was. I never really did anything with it. Leatherworking tools all on the windowsill, a couple anvils. One is specifically for driving bladed things like hole punches and end punches. I've got this piece of cutting board shaped on top of that one, and then the other one's blank for pretty much everything else. Greenwood working tools are all here. I've got my main carving axe, a variety of adzes. They don't all belong to me, but I wanted to put them up there just because they look beautiful. So these two elbow adzes were made by my friend Walter. They're on loan, so I will be giving them back to him at some point. The frame saw that I made, my dad and I made this stitching pony. All my threads, storage for sandpaper and other random stuff. Cold steel tomahawk.
which I love. I've got my squares, I've got my silky saw. You guys see this part all the time. This is sort of my backdrop. Right now I've got the skateboard I built. You can check out the video where I build the skateboard right here. My archery stuff up on here right now. I made the quiver, of course, where I also made all the arrows. If you want to see a video about the Estwing, it's right here. My tomahawk that I made, that's the sort of one and only experience that I have blacksmithing. I got my set of goggles here, my steampunk goggles. A belt pouch that, I guess you'd call that a possibles pouch, that my great-grandpa made. It's made out of leather and it still works great. I use it for archery. I've got my string jig here that my friend Chris made for me. Chopping block, which I use to carve all my spoons and my bowls. I've got my clamps on this wall. I've got those cool spoons from the first video. Up here I have my bows. This first bow, the one that you can see right here, my dad made for me when I was 12, and it's awesome. My son uses it now. The 11-year-old uses my old bow, and then the 6-year-old uses that one. And then I've got a handmade bow made by Bucky's in Duncan. Got another one that my dad made, and I think it's about 60-pound pull, so I don't use it very often. Who am I kidding? I haven't done archery for a while, but I'd love to get back into it. Yeah, and there's my shop tour.
Well, thanks for hanging out for the shop tour. If you've been here at this channel since the first shop tour, leave a comment, because that would be really cool. My shop has grown and evolved from being just a place to do leatherwork to a place to do leatherwork, woodwork, and even play my guitar. I'm really excited about what I've done here and where we're going with the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like this video. Share it with your friends. For anyone who would like to see it, it would be awesome. I'd love that. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll be me and you be you. Peace.